this is our story here. So, my name is Dustin, and my wife Haley and I have been married 11 years. And through our relationship, I was an alcoholic for 10 years. And it would start with, maybe just get a little shooter here and a couple beers or whatnot, and then it progressively got to where it'd be a fifth of liquor at night. And I didn't really, Haley knew that I would drink, but she didn't know it was in that excess, right? Like I would stop at the liquor store and get some liquor before I got home, but then I would also get beer. So it was like I could walk in with beer and have a beer and say, oh, he's just having a beer at dinner. But I mean, I could have 30 drinks and be sitting here talking to you. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm a good dad. Like I go to sporting events, I take care of my kids, I provide for my family. Like what do they care? Like I just had it in my mind that it didn't affect anything. So I got thinking, like just the Lord took over me, just like, you got a problem, man. Like, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, how many drinks have I had today? And I could calculate that I had 26 drinks on the boat with my 6-year-old, right? Very unsafe. I was like, I gotta do something. I don't know what I gotta do, but I gotta do something. I gotta stop this. And so first thing we did was go to the doctor, because alcohol can, withdrawal can kill you very easily, especially with the excess that I was drinking. And so went to the doctor. They talked about checking me in a facility, and I just was totally against it. Like I was like, no, I did this to myself. I'm getting through it. And so went back home, and I was like, day one, like the next day, I was like, okay, I'm somewhat okay. Day two, I couldn't stand up. I remember like finally getting out of the bed, and like everything just started going black, and I'd fall back. And I told her, I said, I think I'm gonna die. Like I kept telling her, I was like, I don't know what to do. I think I'm gonna die. And I'd stand up, and my hands would be, shaking like this, and I don't know how many times a night did you have to change the sheets or towels, or because I would just be sweating.
He could only move from like the bed to the couch to the bed, and he would kind of be in a panic attack, like constantly saying, I'm not okay, I'm not gonna make it through this, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think too, it was hard for him to accept that all of these side effects were coming from what alcohol had done to him for so many years without him realizing it. And that was hard for me to watch. I wanted him to get through it, but we both knew, like, if he just kept drinking, even like in moderate amounts, it would take this away. And so it was hard for us both, because I didn't want him to be miserable like that. Just like he said before, in childbirth, he can't stand to see like me go through that pain. It was kind of the reverse for me, watching him go through that suffering, because it stinks when you can't take it away. The same for your kids, so it was hard. It was hard on all of us. And to know that Zoe she was 7 at the time, so I mean she was watching this too, and she didn't understand. And so it was a lot on our family, but he made it through it.
Got through the alcohol problem, and just shortly after that I got through the withdrawals, I get a call from my mom, and she's like, are you sitting down? And I'm like, well, that's the last thing you want to hear from your mom. She was 50 at the time, and she said, I have cancer. And I said, well, what kind? And she said, well, breast cancer. And I was like, Mom, it's fine. Like, we're good. When she got sick, she was like, hey, I think you need to come on board. They had the Window Depot business, which we own now, her and my stepdad. Like, no, Mom, like I'm successful in what I do. I don't want to just take over the family business. Like this good corporate job. Like, I'm not leaving it, Mom. I'm not doing it. People get breast cancer all the time. You do chemo. We're gonna have surgery, and hey, you're gonna be around here to see your grandkids get old. Like that's how it's gonna go, Mom. And so we got more into that, and it didn't go that way. So it was triple negative breast cancer, and which is the most aggressive breast cancer. I'm not a doctor, so don't really know what that means. I just know it sucks. And so they said, hey, we're gonna do 26 rounds of chemo before we do surgery. Usually they would do the opposite, but with it being so strong, they didn't want to take it out because they were worried about it spreading. And it just kept getting progressively worse. Then at the end of chemo, they did the surgery, and I mean, the next day they did a scan, and the doctor was like, "We can't believe it. Like, we can't find any cancer.
We got it all.
We got it." And I mean, just talk about, being thankful and so happy, and so after the surgery, they said cancer free, and it wasn't 2 days later, I was at her house. I don't think you were there, and she was just like, "Dustin, my throat's hurting. Like, I'm scared, and my throat's hurting." I said, "Mom, you just had surgery. Like, you had tubes and everything else." I said, "That's why your throat's hurt." She's like, "No, I need to go to the doctor." I said, "Okay." So she went to the doctor the next day, got a scan of her throat, and they said, "Well, your throat's fine, but something concerns us in your neck, so we want to scan your head." And so they scanned her head, and they found 5 brain tumors. So we had moved to her brain. They said, "There's nothing we can do for you, but we can send you to MD Anderson in Texas, and we can do localized radiation. You'll get another 5 years of life. You'll get to be able to get your things in order. You'll be able to see your grandkids get a little older, things like that, but there's no cure for you." And then I remember I was sitting at the computer working, and she called me while I was there, and she's, again, the same thing. "Are you sitting down?" I was like, "Oh, no." And she said, "They scanned my head again when I got here, Dustin, and they're sending me home. They found 12. And they said, there's nothing we can do." So I drive her home from the airport. Haley's waiting there with all the family and friends. And she talked to me normal on the drive there. And then we were sitting about how far apart we are. And she got this really confused look on her face. I was like, Mom, what's wrong? Do you need some food? Have you ate today?" And she just kept going, "No, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah." And so she just had a stroke. And through that, she got a little better after the stroke. And this is kind of really my turning point with the Lord, because she always pushed me to quit drinking. Obviously, she knew that I was drinking. She didn't know how much, but she was always, "Dustin, you need to quit drinking. Dustin, you need to quit drinking." But we were sitting in St. Thomas Hospital one night when she had a flare-up, and she was in the most excruciating pain that you can imagine, just screaming. She's holding my hand, just like squeezing it as hard as she can. And she said, "Dustin, if I can do this, if I can go through this, you can get through the no drinking, and you can not drink for me again the rest of your life." So we ended up taking over a business. I had about 40 employees that worked under me where I worked now in the corporate job. So, I mean, I was very familiar with one entity of the business, but I didn't know accounting. I didn't know production. I didn't know any of that. And it's just like, here you go. And so she left me her half when she passed, or us, her half when she passed. And we decided it was in our best interest to purchase the other portion from our stepfather, because we didn't see eye to eye on some things when she passed, and that's fine, that happens. But we just thought that we should take it over. And so we took it over. Business was going great. We would we would tithe, but we didn't tithe correctly.
We were still kind of flying by the seat of our pants, right, as far as business owners went. We were still grieving. We were thankful that the Lord had blessed us the way He had with the business in the loss of her, because it still kind of gives her that legacy that we're thankful for, and that we strive to just build every day. But it was very much a learning experience that first year too.
Yeah, absolutely. We made a lot of mistakes, but the business was thriving. I mean, it was growing. We every week we would sell more, do more. We would add more people. We would do more. And we'd come in church, and I was a back row sitter. Like, and we went in Tullahoma. We didn't come here yet. I wanted nothing to do with being involved in church. I just wanted to sit in the back row, do my time, and leave. I'd give a couple $100 a week here and there, and that was my way of tithing. I was choosing what I would tithe, not what I was told to tithe. And so several months after running the business, almost a year, we got a major manufacturing defect that got in a lot of homes, and it was causing windows to leak. At first, the manufacturer was working with us. They sent out letters to our customers and said, hey, this is 100% a manufacturing defect. Dustin and Haley and team are doing everything they can to get it right for you guys. We were getting them product. And then when they saw what excess it was and how much money it was going to cost, they took a different stance. And they stopped taking care of anything. And so we started spending tens of thousands and then getting into six figures of amounts of money that we were spending on fixing these homes, not to mention that we couldn't sell this product anymore, because I'm not going to do that to a customer. I'm not going to offer a product that I know is having a problem. And we didn't have at that time any access to another manufacturer. So we shut down. Not only were we spending money like crazy, we weren't bringing any money in, because we cut sales off.
That strained our business like to the core. We came to a point where we were standing in the kitchen and I was just squalling, and he was holding me, and I was just like, Lord, don't take this away from us. Like, this is our life now. You know, we've spent the last 3 years building this, and this wasn't our fault. Like, we're trying to do the right thing here, but it's slowly sinking.
So we started coming to Gateway. We had this major issue in our business happening. We didn't know from week to week how we were going to make it. We were basically going day to day, and we joined a small group. We joined small groups, and first time at the small group, I just opened up. Like, I just like, and I told him at the end, I was like, I'm sorry, this is not about me. I said, I'm sorry I told you guys all this. But I basically just unloaded on him of how the things were going in our business, and we didn't know what to do.
We needed an
And there's this, I do not remember her name, but this lady that was there right after I got done with my story, she goes, do you tithe? And it made me so mad. It made me so mad. I got in the truck, and on the way home, I did not shut up about it. I was like, can you believe her? I said, we don't have any profit right now. We have no net profit. I said, yeah, let's tithe off net profit. It's zero. Like, okay, let's tithe. What is she thinking? You know? And I was mad at her. Like, I didn't want to go back. But I walk in the office, and she goes, that lady was right. I was like, what do you mean that lady was right? She was like, the Lord is showing us he can take this away just as quick as he gave it to us, because we're not doing what we're supposed to do. And I said the same thing. I said, okay, what's net profit, Haley? Let's tithe off of it. Let's do it. 10%. And she's like, no, that's not what the Lord's telling me to do. He's telling me to do it off gross profit. So gross is, labor, material, and then you have your gross profit, which is always significantly higher than your gross is significantly higher than your net. And I was like, we can't do that. Like, I said, there's no money to do that. I said, if we do that, one, we can't pay ourselves. We can't. I said, how are we going to do this? And she said, that's what the Lord's telling me to do. And I said, I need a minute. I came back in, and I just said, what do we have to lose? Let's do it. And she said, I was thinking something else. And when she's thinking, that means there's either it's going to cause me work or it's going to cost money. So she said, the Lord's also telling me we need to retro it back to when this issue started happening. And I said, no way, not happening. I said, I don't even know how we're going to pay bills, even if we do it back. I said, I need another minute. And so I go back outside again, and I am mad, like red face, like extremely mad. One, I'm going through this problem, and then this lady in small group, tells me I need to tithe, and then my wife is telling me I need to do the same thing, and it's like I'm working my butt off to grow this business. And I come back in, and something came over me, and I was just like, whatever, do it. I think it was like $12,000, $13,000 to retro it back those few weeks or whatever. And I was like, I don't know how we're going to do it. I said, I don't know how we're going to do it. She goes, I don't either. She said, but I just made the payment. And from that point forward, like, we didn't win the lottery, right? We didn't, like, the Lord didn't just say, oh, here's $3 million because you gave me what you're supposed to. But I tell you what, coming through that problem, if we needed $46,440.21 of cash flow to keep things going, we got $40,441. It was the wildest thing that I have ever seen in my life. And now it's just like, I don't even look at tithing. We have this sheet in our business, and it automatically calculates in a cell how much we're supposed to give every week, and it says God's money at the top. Now it's all of our conversations are always about how can we give more. And I have no idea. Like, I don't even know how much money we've gave this year. Not a clue. I don't know. I just know that our business would not have survived without it. And just from that point forward, like, getting involved in small groups. Now we're doing a small group ourselves at home, and had a great first meeting, and the great things she's doing with Blue Monarch, and now even coming into this year, one of my guys goes, "Hey, I feel like I see you and Haley doing things. You guys have talked to us about tithing. I feel like I need to get more involved with the Lord." And he's like, I'm gonna do a men's Bible study. And I said, well, why don't you put that in the group and see if we can't get all the guys to join, and you lead it. And every Tuesday since January 1 at 6 a.m., all the guys in our business have met together and done a small group, and the lives that it has changed. From people, from one of the guys coming into the meeting totally pushed against the Lord, won't pray in front of people, won't come to church, actually 3 weeks ago led the meeting. And so just from all that, from my mom passing to help me with the alcohol and realizing Lord, and I think in my head all the time, like the devil would get in my head and be like, the Lord took your mom away to help your alcohol. How do you feel about that? And I struggled with that for a while. I think I even mentioned it to her, like, I hope he didn't take her because of me. And then, like, I just had this new thing that, like, it was her time. It was her time to go. But he utilized her bad situation to do amazing things. The relationships it mended, the alcohol problem that it fixed, which led to us taking over this business, which led to us coming to Gateway, which led to us tithing properly, and you guys being able to do good things with those monies. And like, how did all this happen? And it's like, you can only have so many coincidences, right? Where you're like, oh, that's a coincidence. No, it's the Lord. It's the Lord's coincidence.